today we're going to talk about the magic of starting a business. It's magic. This is magic that you can bring into your life if you make a few decisions. What's the first magic trick that occurs when you start a business? First trick is you go through forced personal development. There is not one successful business owner that continues to build and grow their business without going through a personal transformation. It may be a leadership role, it may be a how to manage money role, it may be so many parts to this. And let's go make sure that is public. There's so many parts to the magic of starting a business. The personal transformation, in many cases, the financial transformation, the ability to take something that didn't exist and create something that does exist. That is an amazing process. That is the ability for you to start with nothing but an ideal and create a business. That's magic. That's personal alchemy. I want you to really think about that. One day, you just at home, laying in bed, and this ideal just comes out of nowhere. You're just like, I'm going to start X, Y, and Z. Then 4 years later, you've got it started, you're making money, you're feeling good about yourself. That's magic. That is the ability of you to pull stuff from your mind and bring it out here into the real world. That is an incredible thing that you can do. Currently, we have many people who put this wonderful, special act of starting a business as if it was a very simple, easy thing to do that many people are currently doing. When you make the decision to become a business owner, you set yourself apart from the herd. You set yourself apart from the average person. We have a lot of average people who are trying to bring exceptional things to their average ass life. And when it doesn't happen, they're wondering, it must be rigged. The game must be fixed. Let's take credit cards, which is, I'm going to tie in. For those of you who are looking to establish business credit, tomorrow's live training, 7 p.m., the link's below, the art of holding. We will be going over how to develop business credit. So if you want a piece of that action, go below and grab it. Credit is one of the easiest things to understand when you financially empower yourself, when you have a financial education. What's the first rule of Glendon Cameron's financial education? Rule number 1, make more money. Well, that's rule number 2. Rule number 1 is manage your money to the best of your abilities. Manage the money you have extremely well. That's rule number 1. Rule number 2, make more money. Those two things will dramatically change your life. I mean, credit is not hard to understand. You know what get people in credit trouble? What creates a bad situation for people with credit is a lack of financial discipline. All right? You don't have no job. You shouldn't be using your credit cards. That's a very simple thing. I have no job. I shouldn't be using my credit cards. I don't have the ability to repay. So having losing your job doesn't mean you should have bad credit. Yet, we have many people who blame their lack of a solid credit profile or not having a job. The American cycle of credit is to use credit as an extension of income, to buy things today that you're going to pay for in the future with money you haven't even earned. That's the deal. With a firm financial education, you will learn that credit is to be used as a convenience. You shouldn't use that credit card unless you already have the money in the bank to pay it off. Or you know for certain that you'll have that money before the statement day comes, because credit cards usually have two dates. They'll have a statement date, a cut date, and they'll have a date that they'll start charging you interest. When you go ahead and you get that first date, the cutoff date when they drop your statement, because typically that date will come before they start charging you interest. And if you pay before the cutoff date, you won't pay any interest and it won't reflect on your credit report. One of the issues is with credit is that people see credit as an extension of income because they don't want to set up the 5 checking account blueprint. Let me go ahead and put this in there. All right. For you folks who don't have a solid financial education, you need to go ahead and get money management. It's the basics of finance and wealth development. This course contains the 5 checking account blueprint, which will change your life, will change your financial habits, and will put you on the path to becoming wealthy. And this is a personal financial development course. Go ahead and get that. The link's under the video. Once you get some solid money management skills under your belt, the big change that's going to happen in your life is something that you can feel, and it's going to be very tenable. You'll find yourself having more money. You'll find yourself not stressing out about money. You'll find yourself putting yourself in a position to start a business. There are many people who want to start a business, but they don't have the ability because they need money coming in right now. You know, one of the things that is a problem for many people is they must have money coming in. They cannot have a period where there's no money coming in. Well, not like I started this YouTube channel. I didn't have a job. I was living on savings. I had the ability to work on this channel for 6 months full time while I was working on the channel and writing the book. That's all I was doing. But because I have a financial education and understand how money works, I was able to do that. And you don't have to be, quote, a millionaire to do that. I talked about this in my last video about this chick I used to work with who was a CNA, certified nurse assistant. I think at the time she was making 22K a year. And this girl, because she had a very good father, she had a financially astute father that taught her the power of allocating money when she was a teenager. And this girl was saving 50 to 80% of her paychecks since she was a teenager. And when she left her parents' house, she had 80K. And this set the paradigm for the rest of her life. She paid cash for cars. First person that I ever met that paid cash for a car. She said, what I do is I go in there and I let them do their little dog and pony store. And I was like, hey, would you take off X amount if I pay cash today? Just blew them away with how she came in and she approached the game. And this is something that will happen. You know, you go ahead, you grab the 5 checking account blueprint. You start a business. In a few years, you could be paying cash for cars. And I'm not talking about a used car. You could be paying cash for a Range Rover. You could be paying cash for a Porsche. You could be paying cash for a Mercedes. Cash money. Go in there. Call up the salesman. It's like, hey, I want this color car. I want this. Because you researched it online. I want this package. You got it on the lot. How much is it? All right, I'll be there. I need the exact figures because I got to stop by the bank to get a cashier's check. And I'll be in there to pick up my car today. And I'll be in and out. This is part of the magic of starting a business. There's the personal transformation. And then there is the financial transformation. And this is what many people look at. They don't look at when you start a business, you become much tougher than the average person. You become super mentally strong because a business is going to test you. A business is going to create drama in your life. A business is going to open up new doors. A business is going to change your thinking. A business is going to make you meet people that you never, ever would have met if you had a job. The magic of starting a business is a total personal makeover. It could change. It's going to change your life. And it's going to change where you live. It's going to change the neighborhood that your kids grow up in. It's like amazing magic. You know, it is the craziest thing. So much magic goes into starting a business. First, there's the metaphysical, and there's a property of metaphysical in there that many people don't seem to acknowledge. And for the people talking about the volume, you need to get better equipment because I listen to these things and then the volume plays fine enough for me. Let's see what we got here. T-Moz, that's powerful. A lot of immigrants are that way too. Many immigrants, when they come over here and they figure out the game that I can create this business that feeds me and the family and the folks back home, they on that. How many of y'all been to Miami? 80% of Miami is Latino, Hispanic. And you have Brazilians, you've got so many people from South America that the flavor of the city is definitely Hispanic. You have more international banks located in Miami than you do anywhere else. You've got such a thing. And T. Father Mary once knew a Caribbean bellman at a hotel that saved all his checks, which weren't much. He lived off his tent, sent most of his savings home to family. When you come from nothing, it's very easy for you to live on little or nothing. The average American has an expectation of, I need to be balling. I need to be balling because I'm an American. So what if I don't serve my fellow citizen? So what if I don't work a lot? So what? No. Miss me with that. I need to be balling. I need to be chilling. I need to be balling. I need to have enough free time to chill. I have enough free time to look up at my navel and to do all of this stuff because that's my expectation. The American dream is not dead. It has been replaced by the American expectation by many people who are just lazy. Everyone isn't lazy. Some people have some personal challenges, but a lot of folks are lazy. And this is how you find out. Quiz your friends. It's like, what do you do after you get off work? Most of the time, hang out with friends, go to the bar, watch television. After you get off from your job, you've got 6 to 8 hours to hustle on your business. And this is what immigrants do. Gar Splitter, my parents came to the U.S. from Jerez and set up their own business. I'll tell you that we always had a home and food in our stomach. Oh, the drive is real in immigrants. What's up, Mentor Shelley? Black folks should be the best at saving since a good number of us come from not having a lot. Part of that is the American expectation. The American expectation, I'm not going to get on the whole reparations thing. I do believe that certain people were owed reparations. I just don't think that it's going to happen. And I'm not going to invest time and energy towards that end when you could start a business today and 3 to 5 years later, you're creating your own reparations. I believe that if more black people started businesses, the general opinion of us as a group would drastically improve. What's up to Genesis Product? You got people who have unrealistic expectations out of life. And this is why they are where they are. If you want to be an American, start a business. America's a corporation. To be an American is to be corporate. That's who's running this country, the corporations, not our elected officials. Corporations and that money that they have, that's what's running the country. If you want to become an American, start a business. What's up, Ebony Empire LLC? Just for the new folks who are coming in, tomorrow night, 7 p.m., doing the Art of Holding Business Credit webinar on the things that you'll need to start true business credit and the types of business credit. Like when I bought this container, I had a form of business credit called factoring, which can be kind of expensive. Let me go ahead and let's see. When you got money coming in, you can get all kinds of loans. Freight factoring. You know, factoring is just an short-term loan that, working capital. Essentially, they would, Coaster had this company. I don't know if it was Coaster, but you would fill out this paperwork. They'd look at your sales. They would look at what you bought. And if you bought enough, then you would get the factored loan, which gave you the ability to order these containers. And that's what I used to order a container from China. And it took 8 weeks to get here from an order to it arrived here, where I had to hire a guy to hook up to the trailer and bring it to the warehouse. There was a lot of little steps, but this is something that's available for people who want to advance their business. Team, so many benefits of coming to corporation. What's up, Wendell Woods? You can't argue with commonness. Yeah, factoring is, it's an industry thing. If you're ordering, how many of you been to a port, like the port of Miami, the port of Savannah? This is where a lot of stuff comes into the States. This is where TVs, cars. One of the reasons that BMW chose Greenville, South Carolina, was its proximity to the Savannah port to export cars. So there's a lot of things that go into business. Your business can you can start a business that can shape a town. BMW literally changed Greenville, South Carolina. I just got approved for 10K credit card. Congratulations. I live in South Florida. You should look at how ports work, because that's where stuff comes in. That's where commerce happens. All right, Mentor Shelley, Port of Miami, Port of New Orleans. This is where so much stuff comes into the country. And you got to think about it. New York, where the ships come in. But Florida's a big one. Florida is a huge port because there's so many things that come in there. But this is the magic of starting a business. This is the magic of getting a business in your life. You could change the life of your wife or husband. You could change the life of your children. This is the magic of starting a business. I mean, not too long ago, I was very sick. And because I had a business, I think that's one of the reasons that I've been able to recover so quickly, because I didn't have a job I had to go back to. And my business was still making money even though I was in the hospital on my back. This is something that, what I call when times are good, you need to push and do as well as you can while times are good. Many people don't do that. So, how many of you are using these good days to build? There are more good days. What if it's just you? It's going to change your life. Going to change your standard of living. It's going to change where you live, what you drive. There's, once you get a solid financial education and then manage your money that you have coming from your job correctly, then you start a business that's like putting gas on a fire. Because some people who have entered into just the 5 checking accounts, it has literally changed their lives. And then that's just stage one. They haven't gotten to the making more money part yet. When you get there, that's when you're going to see vast change. Just started, I have 3 vendors for business credit. And, with business credit, there's vendor credit. Like Coaster with the factoring loan. After I took out that factoring loan, then they set me up an account where I was approved for $100,000. But I couldn't go to that factoring company and say, give me a check for $100K. I can only use that factoring credit for furniture. That was it. That was it. That was the game. That's how it was set up. So this is, if you're truly in business, vendor credit is great. But if you're just out here, one of these people trying to create a business credit profile because you have bad credit, the bad habits that got you the bad credit are going to still be the same habits that are going to trip you up the further you get down the road. So that's why you need to fix your personal credit so those bad habits don't creep over into your business credit. All right, Mo Grizzly. All right, Mentor Shelley, Tyra Gibson. Because the thing is, when you create a business, you create a new lifestyle. And this is what many people don't seem to grasp. Instagram, people want the business owner lifestyle. They just don't want that work. And, because I've seen this thing. Traveling is cool. I've traveled a bit. I've been to other countries. It's nice going out. But here's the thing, and you're going to start to see this with some people as they get older. Living out of a suitcase for most of the year gets old. If you're a young person, you can do this because you're still in that expansion phase of your life, new opportunities, new people. But you get 30 something, they ain't going to be cool. That's just not going to be cool unless you're a very unusual person. And you will see with these videos with people living in their cars, living in vans, traveling. The older they get, that starts to slow down. It's natural. So, once again, the magic of starting business, I employ you, if you're a young person, 16, 17, do it. Start your business. You got a lot of energy. You got a lot of free time. You have the resource of your parents, if you're fortunate, so you can make money and not have to spend money on living expenses. That is like the perfect time. That's what you got to do to get this thing rolling. That's what you got to do to go ahead and start the magic of you starting your business. It's changing your life and creating different outcomes for yourself. I mean, who here wants to pay cash for their next car? Raise your hand. Who here wants to be in a position where they can fund their own real estate deals? Did you know that if you had the ability to put $50,000 a year into real estate each year, you could build a substantial portfolio because you got 50K. And once you get in real estate, you're going to learn that there's alternative means of financing. Because you ever hear about these people who get in real estate and 3 years later they got 15, 20 houses? That is not traditional bank financing. Bank financing is going to tap out once your income taps out, which is going to be 2 to 4 houses, maybe 6 if you have a high income. After that, they're going to stop giving you money. You're going to have to get into the real estate world and build yourself a network of people who know that you're in the real estate game and who will loan you money. These are hard money levels. You should not mix your personal credit. Well, at some point, the credit card companies are going to kind of force you because they're going to look at your personal FICO score to extend a business credit card to you. What's up, Charliza? Come to the business credit. Once again, this is more, there's a lot more to your question, depending on how many LLCs, how you got stuff set up. Erica Hill, that's a good deal. That's a good mama. Bring your son into starting a business. All right, Anthony Johnson, go out there and grind, because what I want is a community of people who are really starting businesses, because there's too many people who are sitting on the sidelines. There's some people who watch this channel for all 10 years and never have not started a business yet. We got to end that. Erica Williams, man, folks trying to get a business credit while personal credit is a dumpster fire. Please tell them fix the foundation. Yeah, your personal credit is going to be the foundation for your business credit. When you get to these big boy loans, like where you're going to a bank and you're going to get a loan to buy a building, they're going to check your personal credit as well as your business credit. They're going to look at you. SBA loans, they're going to look at you. You don't have to have an 850. If you've got 725 to 735, you can get anything you want. Anything. But once again, that personal credit must be straight. What's up, Michael Dennis? So many people are trying to start business credit, and as Erica says, their personal credit is a dumpster fire. This is a problem. This is a huge problem because, in the process of starting a business and becoming a better person, because that's one of the things that will happen if you allow it to. Because the business is like a baby. It's going to need a lot of tender love and care. And that's going to force you to become the parent of that business. And that's going to demand that you be way more responsible than you were before, which is going to change you as a person, which is a good thing. We got a lot of people out here who want that business owner lifestyle, They just don't want the work. What's up, O'Shea? Thanks for the $10 Polish money. Excalibur, what are some good books on learning how to do sales? If you don't have a product to sell, most of these books are not going to help you. You should have something that you want to sell, and then you should find books that will help you sell whatever you're selling a little better. When I was at Rent-A-Crate, I was cold calling every day on the phone. Toot, 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 toot. Hello. Hey, this is Glendon Cameron. And I got this one book on how to do cold calls. After reading this book and digesting it, my cold calls immediately got better. Immediately. I mean, I was halfway through the book and things were going better because I had invested in my training. I had spent money to educate myself on how to do my job better. It's a foreign concept to a lot of people in this get it for free society. Thanks for the dollars. Super chat, James. All right, you've been hustling. So for those of you who you need to be in sales right now before you get any sales books. I know a lot of people want to front load with the knowledge, reading the books, filling their heads with knowledge. That is garbage if you're not a technician of sales. If you're not in sales right now, you got a product you want to move, that book ain't going to help you. Appreciate you, James Lewis. Yeah, one of the big problems with people in education is the foundation. If you're have a sales job and getting sales books, there will definitely. All right, Excalibur, appreciate the $5 super chat. This will definitely make a difference in your life. You should be selling something. You should be out there killing dragons, making it happen, because this is where the transformation happens. This is where the magic of starting a business happens, when you get up off your butt and you actually participate in the American commerce game. Everybody here on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, they're selling stuff or participating in the American commerce game. Everybody needs to be participating. Everybody needs to be selling something. You need to have, like, I got something I'm selling. Do you want to buy this? What's up, Blind and Booty? So we got to get in this. Thanks, Terrence. We got to get in this. Yeah, building a business is life-changing. I mean, once you cross the threshold and you had certain levels of success, you could never, ever go back to a job. Even in years where my income has dropped, it is still way higher than money I could get getting a job. Eric Williams, just wanted to tell you, you're very right on the travel lifestyle, folks. Over 14 big YouTubers are coming back to USA, getting small apartments, mid-30s. I lived that lifestyle. When I was a young man, I was in the military. I had a job that I had to travel. And when you are young, it's fun and it's exciting. But the minute that you get a little older, those nesting instincts come in. You want to have a home base. And I've seen some of these travel bloggers with kids, and they've got the home base quicker. Folks do not want to live out of a suitcase forever. 100% agree. 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 No, I mean, once again, it looks good, but I have traveled. I have been to London. I haven't been to Russia. I want to go to Russia. I have been on a long ass boat ride. You know how long it takes you to get to from Europe to the USA on a boat? 3 weeks if everything goes all right. I've done that. And the first week or two is kind of cool. Then you start getting a little stir crazy. I lived on an island. I was in Hawaii for 3 years. First 2 years were great. After that, it was kind of like, this is old. H1, H2. But see, I've experienced this. This is why 2 to 3 trips a year are personal. I'm good. Everybody, the older you get, the more important the home base becomes. Because you got to understand, this YouTube thing and Instagram thing is fueled by kids who have no perspective. You're 14, you start doing Instagram, you blow up, you're 18, you're 19, you're 20. You've been doing Instagram for 6 years. You grew up in the life. You don't know anything else. Sassy Moxie. So many young men are so influenced by the antiquated ideals of the past. I've been working with my sons to start a business for years. That's the game. Eric Williams. I know several of them videos and photos stacked up enough for years to push out. I'm meeting with folks now trying to invest. Also, some girls getting older. 2 dudes, married folks. Don't know. The name of all that place, I don't know, man. I don't remember. Lawrence D, the home base is for real. The influence of mature black man, which is more influential than intelligent black mothers, has canceled out their ambition to be entrepreneurs. Now they realize that wealth isn't about ideals of the black community. I'm so frustrated. That's a unique conundrum because a lot of people, like I'm going to do a video on the male channel talking about this new thing that's going through the manosphere. Many people will hear part of an ideal, part of a concept, and then they will take this concept and make it their own without leaving out a lot of the components. Uh, Boyce and I are from different walks of life. I've actually started businesses. He has not. That's what I think of him. Um, One of the things is having a degree in finance and all that stuff is nice and good. But if I had someone with a degree in finance, 20 years of experience, or I had someone with 20 years of running the business, I'm going to go with the person with the 20 years of running the business because I know how hard that is. Many businesses go out of business within 2 to 4 years because the owner got into the wrong business. So, once again, and he got on that Bitcoin thing because have you ever noticed that all of the real players on YouTube did not fall for the Bitcoin thing? Everybody that was making money from their business had no need to get rich quick with the Bitcoin thing. I've had conversations on my page where I had people straight up ask me, "Hey, Glendon, why don't you want to do the Bitcoin thing?" And I just had to break it down on one dude. Dude, I'm already rich. I don't need this bullshit to get rich. I already got money. I've been where you wanted to be 15 years ago. I don't have to do this. And then people was like, Well, if you're so smart, why don't you short it? I don't need it. There's a million and one ways to make money. But once again, online, you see platform based Amazon FBA, Shopify, Facebook groups, Bitcoin. You see all of the herds moving over there. But once again, everybody that made a lot of money wasn't convinced about Bitcoin. It was very interesting how that went down. A lot of people fell for it. Erica Williams. Aha, folks in the manosphere writing books talking about marrying single monks as long as all the bills in your name for control. Man, see, once again, I've kind of backed away from the manosphere because let's just go ahead and talk about this. Everyone knows who Jeff Goldblum is, right? Let me show you something. All right. Everybody knows who Jeff is. Jurassic Park, um, Independence Day. He's been married. I did not know he and Gina Davis were married. I think Jeff Goldblum is 66 and his wife is 36. So there's a 30-year difference between him and her, right? Now, Jeff Goldblum is rich. He and this woman has 2 kids. Let's get to the real. Jeff is going to die before she does. Now, why did Jeff go ahead and get married to a woman 30 years younger than he is and have 2 kids? Kids make the world better. You can, see, this is one of my big issues with the MGTOW folks is you going to get old. And I grew up in a neighborhood where there was a lot of old people, and I go visit them, and they'd be hard to leave their house. It's like, all right, Miss Jones, I've been here 3 hours. I'm about to go. They didn't want to let you go because they were lonely. I do not buy into this notion that you're going to be a 66-year-old man in good health and not crave female companionship. And the thing is, you got to get it when you still look good, which means you need to start this in your 40s or your 50s. A lot of stuff I see is kind of funny. Thanks, Charlisa. Uh, no, the financial wealth course is not included in income metamorphosis. Those are 2 separate things. Thanks for all the awesome insight. Appreciate you. Tyra Gibson, the shiny objects. William Celeste, spill the tea, man. Yeah, because the thing is, these young boys who are talking about, who throwing up gang signs like, I'm MGTOW for life. I'm 18. You have not been through anything in your life. You don't know. What's up, Mr. Composition? I know. Sassy Moxie, I feed my sons, bought our lifestyle from an entrepreneur, not child support, and the influence of employee mindset has a prominent influence. That's why so many children of upper middle class black parents or families are going to the lower income stack. Oh, I want to tell you another thing that they don't talk about, because what Saxy Moxie's talking about is that the children of upper to middle income, upper to rich black parents are often end up poor. Part of that is trying to keep it real. That's part of it. Their parents didn't get that bread by being ghetto. Their parents didn't get that money by acting like the herd. Their parents were leaders. And these kids, in an effort to fit in with hood and ghetto culture, end up with the lower income. They're trying to disavow their upbringing. Oh, I've been looking at this for years. The ghetto, the hood culture. This is why Cardi B is so popular. Cardi B is just a fancy hood rat. Okay, girl, all that stuff. That's just ghetto. It's hood. And these kids, Ice Cube, middle class parents. Dr. Dre, upper middle class parents. But they started a business and look at what happened to them. Ice Cube been married to the same woman for what, 20 something years? And during these conversations, he never comes up. Lawrence, I said that in the Mansfield, you're going to want someone when you get older. Elijah James, yes, that's one of the reasons that these kids have lower income is because they have lowered expectations of being appropriately black. That has a high price tag of being appropriately black. I never cared about that. William Celeste is why kids who speak and write and read well are berated into being ashamed. You talk white. And you there was one show where someone tried to bring this up and people were acting like that didn't happen. Well, no, I grew up and I'm like, you were probably one of the main bullies on that stuff. Sassy Moxie, keeping it real will keep us poor. Remember when Dave Chappelle had that skit, when keeping it real goes wrong? There's truth to that. Candace B, nothing is fancy about Cardi B, nothing. She's a fancy hood rat. She's a rich hood rat. And what rap has done has created a career path for hood people. There's this guy on Facebook. He's hood as he wants to, and he does all these little skits where I can barely understand him, and he has a following. Pour it a mindset, not a color. Williams Celeste happened to me. Erica Williams, man, the book averages over this. Basically, folks doing the same thing as his parents, but not same results. Books say middle class going to thin out. Either you're going to go up or go down via career choice. Yeah, I think I put that book out. I think I was looking at that because starting a business and instituting and bringing your kids. You ever go to an Asian restaurant and you'll see the little Asian kid check you out and take the credit card? Gary Vee was instituted into the family business. Gary's like, I couldn't do anything. I had to work. It's the family business. Immigrants institute and integrate their children into the family business. This is why you see these little rich Asian kids who started a business driving a Porsche. What's going to happen is unless someone in the family says, look, this is what you need to do. Remember Boys in the Hood and Trey's father, Morpheus? I forget the dude's name. But you're going to need someone like that in your family that you respect to say, look, I have been saying this and I have gotten in trouble and I've had people get mad at me, but hood and ghetto culture is a cancer on the black community. It's one thing to be born into that. You had no choice. It's another thing to subscribe to that BS. That is a choice. Furious Styles. I mean, I've been saying this for years, and I've been getting it. When I talk about the hoteps, I had many people. It's like you saying bad things and unkind things to black people. There's nothing I can say that's going to do what the system will do to black folks because they have no economic literacy, no money, no businesses, therefore no power. Elijah, so I thought about the other day. I've never seen an Asian American driving a regular car. I know where there's a few poor ones, but they have the highest business ownership ratio of any ethnic group in America, and they don't like knockoffs. Asians do not buy knockoffs. You see an Asian girl with a Louis Vuitton, it's gonna be real. Rest in peace, John Singleton. Yeah, because once again, like the Cosby Kids, like how many of you've heard of Otis Lawrence Graham? Let me go ahead and bring him up. He wrote this book when I was a kid. All right. When I was growing up, I had cousins that were, he wrote this book, Our Kind of People, inside America's black upper middle class. There's a there's a black upper middle class that's considered bougie, that's considered, they don't mess with common black folks. They have figured out that if we allow ourselves to be affiliated with hood and ghetto culture, it's going to bring us down. Uh, he did a few articles. He was talking about. So I had cousins that were like the Cosby Kids, and the ones who stayed the course. My cousin Greg, he owns a real estate development company. He's doing well. My cousin Rita, they own a farm. She and her husband's doing well. See, we got people who don't understand the cancerous nature of hood culture. Degenerates projects. Oh, the magic of starting a business. I mean, I'm trying to get everyone. I feel everyone needs to have a business. Sassy Moxie. Every major hip hop artist is middle class, treating an art form as a business. Will Smith, Sean Combs went to Catholic school and dropped out of Howard University. Saxy Moxie's Jay Z's mama was middle class parent. Kanye Kanye had a mama with a doctor and his own Chinese tutor. Uh, Henry James, you read all of whose books. Eric Williams, in California, the Asian Games are shooting each other in Stockton. They have a problem with poor Asians too. The Asian gangs in California ain't no joke. They're no joke, man. They really are. TF5, that's true. They don't like knockoffs, but don't many of the knockoff products come from Asian countries? That's ironic, but yeah, that's very true. Lawrence Fishburne. Elijah James, I'm going to throw out a theory here. Remember Anita Baker, You Bring Good Love. Remember Freddie Jackson, Let's Make Love Tonight. Remember Luther Vandross, A House Is Not a Home. It is my presumption that when the music changed, the culture changed. When I was growing up, we used to make, I'm going to get me some tapes. We would take the best romantic songs, or we would create playlists to go from, when she's in the house, she's in the room, to when we get to knock it out. This was common. Yo, man, let me get that tape that you made. I heard you bumping it. When the culture changed, the community changed. I think the reflection on black men and black women relations is a reflection on this hood culture, which is nothing good in my opinion. Stephen there, sir, that's the unfortunate situation when you're trying to reach down and pull someone up. The crab ends up pulling you back down. It all really depends on the mindset instead of sending the ropes and instructions. William, yes, the change in music. I think it started with the music. If you go back to the early 90s, in Vogue, the music changed. I remember going to concerts where people were talking about love, getting married, starting families. What is the music about today? Nonsense, money, drugs, strip clubs. It's the music, man. Mr. Compensation. Yes, I agree. It seems like the music moved to culture. Oh, Henry James, Little Cambodia. Von B, I need a playlist, Uncle G. Lawrence Adam, yes, we did. Von B, I used to play Barry White, and Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes. They will not play wholesome stuff. No. So I've been alive to see this shift in the culture. And part of it is, as a poor little kid, people our kinds of people were we don't want to mess with you. And no one ever said, we don't want to mess with you, not because you're bad, but because of the situation that you were born into is not going to lead to good outcomes. No one ever broke that down. Kevin Samuels says it happened around 1992. Dr. Dre, The Chronic. It happened in the early 90s. I remember the distinct shift. Uh, Ice-T, Cop Killer. Von B, all my breakup songs. Malik Vanderpool, the music definitely changed, but the push for the music is fed to us came from a higher place than the hood. Um, I'm not, I have heard this. I will say that music executives played a role in the times that the N word is used in music. But I, I just can't believe that black people are so clueless and easily led that all of these higher places. Because at some point, you as a fully functioning adult has to know what's right and what's wrong. At some point, you can't keep going like, well, they did all this from the higher level. I have seen people fight with me for talking about speaking correctly, starting a business, financially. I've had black people fight with me. So I'm not buying that. The higher level. I don't think that black people are this mass body politic that can be so easily influenced. You know, because at some point, you as a person has to be accountable for the choices that you make. And that's each and every one of us. Bun B, they weren't ready for the old school game. Dr. Dre, let me ride. Sassy Moxie. Now, most of black community ideals are not based on accountability. Amen, amen, amen. Erica Williams. The average tradesman is 57 years old. Folks are going to go back and get trades during the recession because all the repairs are backed up with work. I drove by a construction site. Everyone was gray hair. Fresh Prince. Elijah James. Not to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but do you think the change in music and media was by design? Absolutely, that was part of it. But once again, remember Florida Evans from Good Time and how she would not take drug money? There's something called principles that, do you understand at one point in the 50s and 60s, white women had kids out of wedlock at a higher rate than black women? If you notice it, black people are very conservative. So once again, I'm not buying into these, you know, I was the product of a single parent mother, you know. I could have chose the easier path. The easier path was to submit to my upbringing. I assiduously avoided it. I refused to accept it. And this is why I have the life that I have today. Because a lot of people were like, you got lucky. I did not get lucky. This was by design, to use your language. Von B, no one understands the subconscious mind is being programmed by music. I have talked about this on this channel, how you need to monitor what goes in your mind. I don't listen to Cardi B. I don't listen to mumble rap. I don't believe that, Malik Vanderpump. I don't think that the mass politic of black folks are that clueless. What I think is because there's such a large percentage of us born into hood culture and impoverished circumstances that body has demanded certain things because, you know, we that's too hard to be better. We just gonna roll off into this. William, yes, at some point we have a choice. Butte Lean, painting. Henry James, the street used to inform the music industry, now the industry informs the street. Free thinker. I think that when pimp culture was popularized in the 70s. These problems didn't start happening until the 90s. And it was gangster rap that was the forerunner. I can tell you why they fight. It takes work and focus to do the things you suggest, and it doesn't initially feel good or look good, no instant gratification. Oh, I agree with that 100%. Oh, man, I peeped this. I actually saw this when, you know, this is how we used to go out in the military. Saturday morning, everybody would wash their car. That was the first phase. Then, if you needed a new fit, you go to the mall, get some clothes. Then we would roll out 6 to 8 cars deep going to the club. Everybody was trying to get with a woman, even dudes who had wives and stuff. Women were much easier to deal with. I remember asking a girl out on a date Sunday for Friday, and Friday I didn't have to call her. I just went over to her place, and she was like, "I'm getting ready. Give me 5 minutes." I remember the first time someone stood me up, and I told all of my friends, and this girl had a date with another dude, but he had heard my story of how she had stood me up, and he's like, "Hey, I heard you stood up, dude. I can't mess with you." That's how it used to be. That's how the game was, man. Von B. I just saw it, man. I just saw it, and I mean, the culture has changed. Align imagery. I started my business with 250, an old camera, and 10-year-old Mac. It's not what you have, it's what you do with it. Amen. The Jeezy life. Look where we live. It's about survival out here. It's fed us um, what we are to eat. This, once again, I got videos up here where I refuse to live in the hood. There are many people trying to reclaim the hood, but the hood reclaims them. Yet there are certain parts of town, I don't care how much money they put in there, the hood is still going to have a grip. It's never going to completely change. Oh man, y'all on this accountability thing. Ignorance in music has target, and like the internet movement, young people or the adults bred for later poor loops in adults. Well, there was one thing they didn't count on for the conspiracy theory. White people are being impacted by this. You notice how the GOP used to talk about the single black mother, and then they left that because 42% of all kids in 2011 that are born in America were born out of wedlock. What group of women had the most kids? White women. Have you noticed how many white women you'll see who are 30, 40 years old that has 2 or 3 kids and never been married? It's common. Accountability is what separates the successful from the unsuccessful. Henry James, an aspect of black culture rebelled against the morals of a Florida Evans because it kept them in the projects. Protect your mind. Amen. Sassy Moxie, accountability and responsibility. No one can progress without it. True statement. Glendon, I just cursed out my 707. Hey, Ray, Raja El Amin, good for you. Remember how I have said for years I don't use the N word on this channel? And some of y'all have. I've been talking like this since this channel has started, and I have been fighting with black people. I have not been fighting with white people about this. I haven't been fighting with Asian people. I haven't been fighting with Hispanic people. I've been fighting with ghetto infused hood culture black people. Brother Truth is meant to pause on you specifically. Nope. Expat crypto. All life is luck. Your genetics, thought process. I would disagree with that tremendously. Is it luck that I was in the storage business for 10 years? Is it luck that I wrote a book? Is it luck that I started this YouTube channel? All of those were active choices. See, the whole, that's kind of like these dudes out there talking about Chad and, well, you got to have those genetics and stuff, there ain't nothing you can do. I'm from the school, and once again, this is a cultural thing. I grew up in an environment where there was first place, second place, third place, fourth place, so you could work on your craft and move up. So this whole it's luck. I've had people tell me that you got successful because of luck, and I get very burnt, like irritated, because luck was not working at 3 a.m. in the morning. I was not luck. So screw that luck stuff. The key word that you're looking for expat crypto is choices. I've talked about it on this channel several times. If you are a parent, you want to move to the best neighborhood possible because that's going to create the choices and options for your children. Not luck, not living in the ghetto, not living in this hood apartment because it's $500 a month. It's about choice. Elijah James, the hood culture and mentality has unfortunately made me not want to associate with a huge percentage of the black community because so many of them think that way. Dudes wore suits to the club back then, true. All right. Doctors Hiru must get back in touch with who we are. We must know ourselves. We must know right from wrong. We become accountable to the creator win. Well, part of this, if black people knew their history of the Moors, how they taught Europeans, how the Moors had enslaved Europeans for 1,000 years. Mentor Shelley, principle and morals should be the driving force of our actions, not the music of the time. We must take accountability for actions. Amen. Mark Vanderpool, yeah, they had to leave that alone after Sarah Palin's daughter, who has a $250,000 a year job as a abstinence advocate, and she got pregnant without being married by, again, she got 2 kids. Oh, accountability is the real deal, man. Blind and Buddha, this is why I have the friends that I have. Free thinker, that's the saying you have to fight with who you're being given valuable information to, but won't oppose you if you told them to rob a bank. Elijah James, luck is an excuse for not trying. I believe that. I mean, once again, accountability, as Saxy Mossy has been preaching, and responsibility. What did I say? Service to your fellow man. And I'm going to tell you of an experience that I had. I was in Miami, and it was on a tour bus. And sometimes you see these young black women with this crazy weave and almost naked. And none of these girls were skinny. Not a one of them was skinny. And I didn't want her to sit next to me, and she came back, and she had this long blonde weave that was blowing in my face, and I had to tap her on the shoulders like, hey, could you handle that? It's tickling my nose. When you don't have respect for yourself, no one else is going to respect you. What's up, JC? JC Ham, yep. Speak to the people who are successful. Successful people read their stories, the real stories, and all of them have one thing in common: hard, grinding work. That's it. Not none of this luck stuff. Because I hate when people bring up luck. Like, I didn't get lucky. I created my own luck. I was in the storage auction game. And this is why I'm going to do the mental gym. Because when you have a mindset that like many young men have, that Chad going to get the draws because she want a Chad, this removes any incentive to self-improve. And this is what a lot of people are. This is what I'm talking about when I say a lot of people are lazy. Thanks, William, for the $5 super chat. Ooh, blinding Buddha. The hood belongs to the government, not the people who live there. The Genesis problem. Yeah, like the Moors. Beethoven was a Moor. And this is one thing that I will agree with that many white folks have done is when you say Beethoven was a Moor, white people will fight you. It's like, no, he wasn't. Yes, he was. If you like the Dominican Republic in Haiti, you go over to the Dominican Republic and you see all these light-complected saints, it's because the people painted them that way. That's not the color that they were. What's up, Christian? Mental slowly. Moors ruled and slaves that got banished to the Caucasus Mountains for hundreds of years. Black history did not begin with slavery. We need to know who we really are and still allowing others to lie. Amen. All hustle, no luck. The Genesis Project. Yeah, I've talked about that. No. It's not a gene. It's environment. The choices that your parents make are so pivotal to your success. It's crazy. Oh, homeless problem is going to escalate. Candace P. Yes. Oh, I know my history. This is why I did the video. I am not a minority. If you're a black person on a global level, you're not a minority. The people who claim that you're a minority are the minority on a global level. White people are the smallest group of people on the planet. Um, the whole weave thing. This is I don't date women with weave, and I think I mentioned that before. I refuse. Every time I see a sister with a nice natural hair, I go out of my way to say that's beautiful. I do not fuck. I don't mess with women with weave. Elijah James, there's 1 billion people in Africa. And when you start counting the folks in South America who are black, Brazil is mostly black. Colombia, a lot of black folks. Venezuela, a lot of black folks. Cuba, a lot of black folks. So when you start to look at all that, and when you get informed and you know your history, the legacy of who you are as a black person is rich and full of accomplishment. I remember I was talking on my old page years ago that Beethoven was a Moor, and it was this biracial person who was coming in. It's like, well, no, he wasn't. He was a Moor. But use this when you look at history. The victor gets to write the history. So whoever won gets to write history. The truth be damned. Blind to Buddha. Choice changes life. I moved to the best neighborhood so my kids can have an opportunity to win. As a parent, that should be one of the first things that you do is get your kids out of a poor neighborhood, because this is how the deal goes with poor neighborhoods. Poor neighborhoods have low home ownership. Low home ownership means that there's less tax money going to the schools. So your kid is at a disadvantage by going to one of those schools. By going to a neighborhood that's going to stress your pockets, where there's a higher level of home ownership, the schools are automatically better because they have more resources. Andrew Scott, I know, man. Erica Williams, white girls wear extensions. Mimi Icon on YouTube became a multimillionaire off selling white girl extensions, hair, and Lex just sold this year. The fake hair is everywhere at this point. I'm going to disagree with you a little bit on that, Erica. I've dated a ton of white girls, and I have not felt tracks. I'm going to say disproportionately, there are more black women than white women who wear weave. The white women wearing weave are the models, the Instagram influencers, not the average white girl. So disproportionately, black women are driving the weave market. And there's a lot of black female entrepreneurs that became multimillionaires from selling weave. Yeah, I know who Mimi Icon and Alex is, and it's a very interesting thing because when you see, like, I can tell the type of white girl that's going to have a weave. And typically, she's usually not very high class. Minter Sherver, we've never been a minority. The real historic artifacts will tell the truth. The original people were black. Candace P. Brazil has the largest African population out of Africa. And truthfully, blacks in the Americas include the West Indies, so-called Creole. Elijah Hood, why you think all the hair stores in the hood? Hair stores, liquor stores. I live in Sandy Springs, Georgia, and they put up an ordinance. We had 3 or 4 strip clubs, and they put up an ordinance where none of these strip clubs could have a liquor license, and they all went out of business. There's one liquor store down there. All the liquor stores on Roswell Road, and I think there's 4 of them. So, the weave thing. Eric Williams, I was in a white sorority. Trust, they wear extensions for events, weddings, and galas. I know they wear them, just not as much as black women. There ain't nothing you can say to convince me that. Let's put it this way. My friends used to call me the white girl whisperer. I have been with a ton of white women, and not one of them has had weave. Not one. Kirby Frank. Roadside War is true. As soon as I made enough money, I moved my 6-month-old 60 miles up north. People didn't like it, but the school systems are so much better. More resources. Doctors Hiru and Alan Bayel. Oh, I've been teaching this for years. I've been talking about this for years. And I'm really glad we have this community today where I could talk about this. And people are not fighting with me. I had to fight with people about the use of the N word. Oh, the chicken festival? That's funny. Stock market bill, real talk. I had junior achievement at the age of 12, helped grow my education in the stock market, help markets in general. Also, Bitcoin is run. Caution ahead, still nibble, in my humble opinion. I've never done import and export more training other than the furniture, and that was pretty much a contained situation. Expat crypto facts. 99% of white girls don't wear weave. I've gone global and never seen it with the hundreds I've interacted with. That's what my friends used to call me. Because we would be out and I would start talking to someone, then they would start like, it's the white girl whisperer. He's doing this thing. I mean, the weave issue, there might be some white girls who wear weave, but most of them just don't. Bruh, I'm going to need that name for a social group. Yeah, I mean, there might be some. I think the ones who do these fitness contests, they may wear it. Stock market bill, what's your take on Bitcoin? Bitcoin is massively manipulated by whales. There was a paper done. Most of the trading of Bitcoin was fake. I sold my Bitcoin. That should tell you my opinion of Bitcoin. I sold it at the top of the market. I got rid of it. And let's see, actually, what is Bitcoin doing today? Price of Bitcoin. Because I know it's pumping right now. It's gone up like $3,000. Above 7.5. Bitcoin to me is a game. But once again, I have money, so I'm not playing that game. Kirby Frank, I'm glad to speak about environment. My mom moved me to the suburbs at a young age from the hood, and it changed my life. I don't know where I would be if I didn't move to a better environment. Environments are everything. Oh, I've been talking about this. I brought this up. Law of attraction, anything you want. So, this is what starting a business has done for me, and I want to share this with you guys. Von B, they don't wear extensions a lot. I pulled and jerked plenty of ponytails. I would say, if a white girl is wearing weave, she would be part of the hip hop community because that is part of the influence. Traveling merchant, a lot of online gambling sites use Bitcoin. So it's pumping right now. Let's put it this way. I am not going to put any money in Bitcoin, not in the foreseeable future. Let's say it got up to 30K. I still would not put money into Bitcoin. You know why? There are so many ways to make money. Once again, everyone got all caught up on this crypto craze because it looked like easy money. It looked like that easy money. But see, starting a business is how I got all this knowledge. Because when my business got to the point where I can move to a better neighborhood, I noticed that my mail changed. Things just got different. Blind and Buddha, I grew up in the Bronx. I can tell you, growing up, we had to share textbooks because there was not enough. I don't want my kids to be missing out on opportunities. Wow, I didn't know. I did not know that was going on. So this is the magic. If you want to transform your life and the life of a family, start a business. All right, so I'm getting ready to go. For you folks who are interested, links below. Tomorrow night, we'll be talking about how to establish proper business credit. So with that, I'll see you guys in the next video.